So when you're in court for custody proceeding, it's not just about you. It's about the future of the kids, which is also your own future. I mean, you have seen your past, you have seen your present, but your future, your kids are also part of the future. If you make any mistake because of your emotions, because of your hatred towards your husband or towards your wife, you end up spoiling your own future and the future of those kids.
Navigating child custody arrangements can be a complex and emotional journey for many families. On today's episode of Paul's Hot Takes, we're talking child custody, joint custody, and whose interest is more important, amongst many other things. My name is Elvis Christian.
And my name is Chris, and you're welcome to another episode of Paul's Hot Takes. And today we have with us in the studio very, very special people. I will let them introduce themselves as usual, but fun fact, they are both lawyers, which I find interesting.
Interesting because of the topic, so that you'll not say we carry everybody and put on our chair to talk. All right, so let's start with ladies first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Onyinye Akwara. I don't have to say that I'm a lawyer.
Why? Why don't you? Like, you're not proud of it, no?
Oh, I am.
Oh, okay.
I am. But my name is Onyinye Akwara.
And you know, but there's this thing lawyers do that when they have their car, they will put like that red and yellow and black.
I
am a lawyer. Hey there, stop you. I'm called to bar, something like that. So you don't like all of that?
No, not necessarily. I actually obviously don't like that. But being identified as a lawyer is like, I mean, let me speak, let my work speak. I don't always have to say, oh, I'm a lawyer for you to know that I'm a lawyer.
People
like
are here,
that.
unique accidents. Anyways, that's me.
My name is Abib Adebayo Eyade. I'm a lawyer and I'm an associate at Edugare and Company LP A&C legal practitioner. Thank you.
So when you're speaking, I'm just hearing legal. Speaking in language I don't understand. All right, so let's jump right into the topic about whose interest. Whose interest do you think takes center stage in child custody battles? Is it the man? Is it the woman? Or is it the child?
Is that for me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Anybody-
Anybody can do it.
It's
It's a
child.
conversation.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer. It's a
Oh,
child.
it's a child.
The child is obviously, I mean, so the law that governs or that guides child custody in Nigeria is the Matrimonial Causes Act and Child Rights Act. So Matrimonial Causes Act mostly because, I mean, there's a marriage, right? There's a marriage between the husband, the man and the woman rather in this case. When there's a problem, divorce, separation, whatever, matrimonial causes will obviously like have to guide or your separation or your divorce and then matters arising from that separation. But usually child right. So don't get me wrong, Child Rights Act is also used together with Matrimonial Causes Act, right? Yeah. But like when it comes to like individuals that are not married, the Child Rights Act usually will be like the law that will set like the pace. So both laws right now, both laws agree that the child's welfare is the most important in any conversation the court is having with the two people.
Okay, let me just pick it up from where you stopped. Well, the thing is, when we're talking about child custody in Nigeria, I think we have three regimes. You know what? Many people focus on child custody proceeding in the courts. I mean, under the statute. As far as Nigeria is concerned, we have three regimes of child custody. We have child custody under the customary law, under Sharia law, and then under the statute. So under Sharia law, let me start from there. So this is predominant in the north, of course. We don't have Sharia court in the south. So under Sharia law, that's pursuant to Islamic laws. The law is straight there. The law there is that the custody of a child is given to the mother while they are minor. So when they attain the age of puberty, custody will revert to the father. However, there are circumstances whereby the law would look at the best interest of the child. But primarily, generally, custody is usually vested in the mother. Even when there is no mother, the grandmother, the aunt, the sister. So there's a chain. So when the child attains the age of puberty, then it reverts to the father. So
puberty, not adulthood. Because there's a difference.
Yes.
So once the child clocks 12.
No. You see, puberty under the Islamic law is not fixated on any age. Oh, right? Okay. But some schools of thought says, okay.
Schools of thought, we're back in school already.
So some schools of thought says, okay, 7 years for the boy and then 12 years for the girl.
Yeah.
Right. However, under the customary law, custody is usually granted to what the custom of that particular
Tribe,
place
yeah.
dictates. So in Nigeria, Nigeria is basically a paternalistic society, right? So custody is usually granted to the father.
Yeah,
Right.
I know that.
So the last regime is what she has said, and I will not really go deep into that because you already explained that. However, whatever it is, whether Sharia law or customary law, the Matrimonial Causes Act and the Child Rights Act and the Child Rights Law of the states, supersedes whatever happens in the customary court and the Sharia court. So if you're in the Sharia court or in the customary court, and then you bring up your matter pursuant to the Child Rights Law of the state or the act. So that law is going to be applicable, and what's applicable is the best interest of the child. If you see the Child Rights Act, the first section in that act says that the welfare of a child, the best interest of a child shall be the paramount consideration in any proceeding involving a child. So it is basic. It's undisputable. Okay. Whether you have money or you don't have money, what is most important is the best interest of the child. What now?
How that is defined is different.
Exactly.
So speaking from the perspective of someone who is not a lawyer, I think that the interest of the child, like I agree, I'm on the side of the law, praise the Lord. At this time, I agree that the child, the interest and the welfare of the child is more important. But many a times, I've noticed that the interest of the child is often determined or looked from the lens of the mother. If you get my point. This is not feminist in any way. This is just one thing I've seen happen many a times. Many a times you're having whenever there's even child custody, it's a child involved, so not an adult. So many a times it is always better to side the mother if she's fit. Let me this is just I'm speaking I'm speaking normally, right? Many a times it's always better to side the mother, because I didn't do law, but I did psychology.
Okay, beautiful. Okay.
Yes. So
I studied history, so I was saying what we read in school.
I didn't do law, but I did psychology, right? And one thing I remember, because as you were talking, I remembered it in class, and they're like, juvenile delinquency is a problem in society. You understand? Criminal psychology. And one of the main causes after research is maternal deprivation. You understand? So even the way human beings work and the way science and research has, gone over time, we've realized that many a times it's safer to side the mother in child custody battles. This is not Elvis's opinion. This is what they are researched to prove this. So so this is just my angle. Do you have anything to say about it?
Yes. Well, I'm just going to say a bit of what everybody has said. Obviously, child custody, a child is involved, and I feel like the child's interest should be paramount. But what then happens in cases where the child is an infant, which is what he has said? Maternal deprivation is what leads to juvenile delinquency. So in that instance, you look at it from the lens of, this is a child that needs
his
to
mom,
be with
her mom.
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't said this whole thing about maternal deprivation and how important the presence of a mother is in a child, right? I think I agree with it, right? Because I noticed that with children, yes, the father is important. I'm not a fan of, how do I say this in a respectful way? Okay, I believe that single parenting is good, right? But I would always prefer and place two parents to a child. You understand? No matter the situation. Yes, I'm sure that there are single parents, shout out to single parents killing it out there. But even single parents will tell you that, yes, it is hard. So I believe that you should have two parents to child or to a child or children. So with maternal deprivation, do you think that in child custody battles, the law should go easier on the mother? Because many a times the father could be the richer one, and when we are talking about child welfare, money is involved. Who is going to pay school fees? You understand? Who is going to pay for hospital bills? So do you think that because of things like juvenile delinquency, the law should be easier or side a little bit more with mothers?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I will go first. Well, I would say that.
I'll go first.
I would say that. Father and mother. I wouldn't say couples now. Right. So, father and mother going to court to fight for custody is an unfortunate thing, but we cannot you cannot
It happens. Yeah.
avoid it. So when it happens, whether we like it or not, either the mother or the father is going to have custody. So whether we like it or not, the child is going to suffer a level of
Loss.
parent.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now, to answer your question, I think we might need to go into the types of custody we have, right? Well, we have many types of custody, and depending from the angle you're looking at it, we have the physical custody, and then we have legal custody. Physical custody is okay. This is the mother, so the guest stays
Lives with the mother.
lives with the mother. While legal custody is okay. Who decides the school she attends?
Oh.
The church she attends, the religion she
subscribes
practices.
to.
You understand? So that is legal custody. So legal custody could be vested in the person that has the physical custody, right? Another one is sole custody. Sole custody is okay. We have 4 issues of the family, right? So all the 4 kids stay with the dad or stay with the mom, right? While the mother has visiting right. We also have joint custody. Joint custody is okay now. They are in primary school, right? So during their school days, during the school days, right, let them stay with their mother. Maybe during the weekends and holidays, let them go to their father at the shared custody. So now going straight into your question that, should custody be given to the mother, that the law should tilt towards the mother, right? So the question is, the answer to the question is, when it comes to any proceeding that has to do with children, the court is usually very, 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 very lenient. You can hardly get judgment on technicalities when children are involved, because the courts are always very, very soft on the proceeding to ensure that justice is done to the child, not to the father and the mother. So now the court will not look at she's a mother and the infant involved is a girl. Because of that, let's give custody to the mother. What the court looks at is the circumstance of each case, different strokes for different folks. So the court will look at it. Okay, fine. The child in question is just 2 years old, right? Basically, the mother just stopped breastfeeding her.
Yeah.
You understand?
Probably even hasn't.
Perhaps. So, the court in that circumstance, the court would primarily look at the mother, but then there are some other things that the court will look at. Let me give an example: a live case. In that particular case, the court found out that there are times when the mother attempted to kill the infant. You understand? So, and then the woman was always abandoning the infant at home. She goes out to gallivate on her partner's outside. The court was like, no. We can't even grant you the custody of this child. So in summary, the court will look at a whole lot of things depending on that particular
case.
Case. There was one I handled, even though the kids involved are actually boys. Court actually granted a joint custody, but most of the time they're going to spend it with the dad. Because why? The dad works remotely. Why the mother does not work remotely? She's completely occupied. She will not have the time to take care of the kids. And you are saying because the kids are small, because the kids are gay, then grant custody to the mother. So the court will look at the circumstance of each case.
So what benefits the child?
Exactly. So the question is the best. What's going to be the best interest of the child?
So with this case you just explained, I have a problem with that.
All right.
Because we hear the court awarded the children to, not awarded, that sounds like I'm objectifying the kids.
Granted custody.
Granted custody to the dad because he works remotely, but the mom has like a full-time job and she may not have a lot of time on her hand. I don't think that exactly falls under best interest of the child, because you can work remotely and still not have time for your child. And I believe that working remotely is a scam. Because if you're working remotely, you are also working, but you are in the house. Does not mean you have time to do other things. You are just working in the house. So it does not mean that I feel like it does not mean that the man has more time on his hands. Two of them still have the same working time, but different locations.
Okay,
Let
me patch the edges. You see, I just mentioned one circumstance.
Yeah.
There are many circumstances,
of course,
even
of
the ones that the court will not even mention. during custody proceeding, the court would not ordinarily invite the kids. You understand? Because the
Yeah.
court would not want them to experience what is going on.
Yes.
But at times, the courts might invite them to examine them, because when custody proceeding is going on, the court sit as a family court.
Mm.
In that, during that moment, there will be welfare officers, 2 of them that will be sitting with the judge.
Do you have these welfare officers in Nigeria?
Very well, very well.
No, I'm
very
shocked to
very
hear.
well.
Like,
in
I'm shocked to
every
hear that.
in every proceeding involving child custody, they will be there.
Okay.
They will be there. So apart from the facts before the court, they will look at the attitude of the kids. I mean, do they relate well with the mother? Do they love their
the
father?
preference of the child is also put into consideration.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
because I mean,
Yes,
it's
so,
a
so,
child.
so the thing, I'm sorry, because I feel like this conversation is going to a place where I will not be able to say my opinion
Okay.
on like the earlier question.
All right.
Very important, right? I think like because he has said like everything legalese, and I try as much as I can to, I don't want, because we're both lawyers, right? So we can't both be repeating like the same things.
Yeah.
So for for the legalese part, he has basically said most of it. And I was also going to talk about like joint custody, like different types of custody, because that would affect. I think like that would affect like the way the court will view like each case or something. But one of the most important factors is that, when it comes to trying to make a decision, they look at the age of the child, and they also look at the sex of the child, right? So if, because I didn't want to say this, but I had worked like when I was like in the law firm, right? I had like an experience working with a family lawyer, and that process. I don't have this very gory. It's very intense, right? When children are involved, it's an intense process, right? Because emotions, the mother, the father, my experience is even worse, because I've even seen father is well to do, mother is well to do.
So it's like a battle.
It's
an
it's
intense
very
battle, yeah.
exactly. So what the court mostly like looks at really is they look at the sex. I said they really do like lay emphasis on like the
Sex of the child.
the sex of the child and the age of the child, right? Before they start going outside to look at and it's even very difficult. It might even be difficult for you to even determine the preference of the child at that time, because the child is very young. So when the child is usually like very young, the court is always would always lean towards
The mom.
the mom, as long as the mom is of good character,
She's
is
fit.
present. It's not
Mentally
even about the
stable.
money. It's present, is stable. The court would most likely, because of like the infancy of the child, because the assumption is that the man is not always around, will always be busy, and at that point you need the mother. But generally, I don't want to say that the court always leans towards the mother, but
It does happen.
It does happen. Like this is the factor. This is one of like the most important factors the court looks at. So when children are like maybe old, I think like 16.
18,
I think is it 18?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So when they are gotten like when they've gotten like to a certain
Particular
type
age.
of age, right? They even get to say, I don't want to, because
Yes,
the court will ask them, who do you want to stay with, mommy or daddy? And I even have a friend. When I was I think it was like my 300 level. He was, his parents were separated, and I remember asking him, with so much, oh my God, what happened? How did it happen? And he gave me like all the story and said, but like the determining factor at the end of the day was that what he did was that he told his siblings, if they ask you who do you want to stay with, but I say mommy. so they went like into court, and I mean obviously like that process where they asked the children, who would you prefer to stay with? Everybody rapped mommy. So all four boys,
Deciding factor.
all 4 boys went with mommy.
All right, so I have something to say, right? Considering, especially when the child is a lot younger, many a times I believe children can't decide for themselves. So children's preference, I feel, should be thrown out of the window.
I don't think so.
Let me explain. I feel that they should, because let's say in a situation where mommy is abusive. I don't want to use it because that is always the usual. Mommy is an abusive parent. Abusive wife to her husband. Let me explain. The reason why husband and wife are divorcing is because the woman is an abusive person, has a terrible attitude, but the child is not aware of it. Because the mother contributes a lot of emotional damage to the husband, and that's the reason why they are divorcing. But the husband is taking her to court for custody. And you don't want to go and ask the child. The child will be like, "Oh, I like mommy. Mommy buys me ice cream."
I tell
But
you
in
guys,
that case-
I have like a perfect scenario for this thing.
I
you
think
just
that,
said.
so that's why I feel like. So I feel personally, children don't know. They don't know it all. If you ask me at a 10-year-old now, who do you want to go with? As my parents were then, I'll say, I'll pick my dad.
That's not the
because
only
my dad is the one
factor
that goes outside and comes
That's
back
not the-
with
that's
ice
not-
cream.
that's not the
The one that
only-
comes back
that's
with
not the
cereal.
only
So
factor the court
children-
uses.
I know,
I know, but
children
then
will
if we're
always
looking
lean
at-
to that.
Yes, but then if we're looking at the interest of the child, you did say that the wife is abusive to the husband,
And
not the child.
An abusive person is going to be abusive, period.
You're not going to be abusive
no,
to your
no.
child,
I'm
because if you were
telling
going to be
you-
abusive to your
I
child,
I believe
you would
ab-
have
Yes, you
been
have
abusive to your
stepped
child
aside.
already.
I believe that abusive people are abusive 360. It will reach the child one day.
Oh, everybody will collect.
Yeah, exactly. It will reach the child one
So I
day.
get I get that, and I was going to say like I already said it anyways.
Yeah.
That have a perfect scenario for that. So I'm sorry if you indulge me, right? We've had like there was this. So this experience now is from my court attachment days. Before you graduate from law school, you have to do internship.
Like residency for doctors.
Something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
exactly. So at this time, the man is Igbo, the woman is Yoruba. And these two people saunter in, and the woman is today is the day she's going to talk about everything that blah blah. And this man is just really quiet all the way there, and he's sitting there and still even addressing the court as, "Oh my lord, my wife," and she's like, "I'm not your wife," because
Her body is on fire.
oh my god. And she's there with her now. I don't know how she now has like another husband. I can't
In
explain
double
it.
scheme.
Maybe not husband, but like she has like another
partner.
guy
Female
who is
partner.
with her there, and she's saying he's not my husband or whatever is here. And he's like, "My lord, the divorce is not over." So I'm saying like in that scenario, they have 3 children. I think 2 girls and a boy, 1 girl and 2 boys. I can't remember now very correctly, but I remember that doing like because we were all interested, all interns were all interested.
Yeah.
We ran to
the
go and
drama.
find the case file and everything, and at the end of the day, I found out that this woman was actually the problem. And she's like, she carried the children, changed the names of her children. Like it was a, oh my God. I wish we had the time. So like, the woman was really crazy. She was the one who left. When she left, she didn't take the kids. Then, all of a sudden she gets married to this person, whoever, and then comes
back for the
to
kids.
change the name of the kids to that man. So that's why the man is sitting down there. That man files like a criminal case in court for abduction, and the man is going off, and the judge is I'm coming. And the judge is like, "Oh, please, can you withdraw that matter? Let's try to sort this out." So in that situation, right, the children are actually chummy with their mom, right? They always, because the man is saying, my children are asking what about mommy, but she doesn't want to come, or when she comes, she just wants to take one thing or the other from the house and disappear. Right? So she's in that. So now in that situation, she's fighting for custody of her children. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And if you ask the children in that situation, mommy is more fun, because mommy comes, she takes us like one period, she's XYZ doing like
She's more lenient.
She's more
she doesn't
lenient,
discipline like that. So they will always want the mom.
No, it's not like dad does discipline, but like there's always like a cooler period.
Yeah.
Even if there's always one who like you just really
sometimes
like being
it's the dad,
around.
sometimes it's the mom.
And that's why I was trying to remember the sexes of the children. I think 2 boys and 1 girl, something like that. And this man does like this whole thing where he sends them to school. The woman is crying, I don't know the location of my children. I don't know where they are. I want custody of my children. I blah blah blah. And that's like something that the court was looking at, because they had spoken like to the children and gotten like their opinion. But in that situation, just because the children prefer, or most of the children rather prefer to stay like with a certain parent, that would not be the only factor.
Deciding factor.
The court will decide to say,
A lot of factors.
That's why I was
go
like,
and stay with who
it
you
shouldn't.
like. No,
Personally, I feel like in many
it's-
cases, it shouldn't even be a factor at all.
No.
It has to be, because
it
I
is,
feel
but it
like
doesn't carry like
So much weight.
Yes,
Yeah.
because at the same time, I feel like you also have to look at out for the emotional well-being of the
Of the
child.
child.
Yes.
So it's not just about.
But custody doesn't mean that you're cutting off. So that's another thing. Custody
Exactly.
doesn't mean that you're cutting off the other parent from the life of this person.
we know.
You're just saying, depending on, he has said it, there's joint custody, there's shared
Legal
custody.
custody.
Legal custody and physical custody is, so that's, it's almost like a,
An arrangement.
so it's almost like a, so one person has like one, so legal custody and physical custody can be in one, can be like
Exactly.
in one
One person.
person. But, you know, I don't want to use them as like say like these are different types of custody,
I
right?
agree,
You know,
I agree.
because circumstances.
Classification.
Yes, exactly. Circumstances will happen, and then somebody can have
Both
somebody can have legal custody and not have physical custody.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Do you understand? I can have legal custody but not have
So
physical.
I can
That's-
decide
that's
what
split-
I can
that's
decide
split
school,
custody.
Schools,
Is that split
religion.
really?
the
Okay,
school,
okay.
That's
religion,
split custody. Yeah.
choice of friends or whatever, but you will not live with me. That's silly now. How
No,
can you be deciding
no.
where my child to go to church, but you are in like Canada?
That's
No. See,
okay. Let
see,
me allow
see.
him.
We need to get it right.
Yeah.
See, there
It's
is
a
no,
Thames song.
there is no fast rule when it comes to custody.
Yeah.
The only rule that is sacrosanct is
The interest of
best
the child.
interest of the child.
Yes.
You know, we have many families,
Different dynamics.
different dynamics, different cultures. So, what the court used to grant custody for party A, the court can use it against
Party
party C.
B.
Mm.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
You see, there are instances whereby court would consider the preference of the child, whoever is involved. There are instances whereby court will not look at it. You understand? There are instances whereby court will look at some small details like, okay, these children are going to ABC school. ABC school is closer to the man's house than the woman's house. The church they attend is closer to the you know there are also small
They will
details.
enter Uber.
Yeah, so because the court will look like I mean look at Lagos. Look at how Lagos is. These little kids going through this traffic.
To go to school every morning.
So the court will look at that. Also look at some other things, like you said, age of the children, sex of the children. In fact, according to the Child Rights Act, it says that the court will look at the wish of the mother,
Yep.
wish of the father, and wish of the child.
children, Yeah.
So everything comes into place. So it is now the courts
Find the middle ground.
being human. When I sit down and say, okay, fine, this is the story of Mr. A, story of Mr. B. Now let's have a middle ground. So the court will now consider the factors that are relevant in that particular case.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
All right, so let's
Okay,
move
so
on.
moving on, all that we've said, do you think that sometimes parents tend to put aside the interest of the child and focus on their selfish reasons? Because I believe that sometimes there are parents who genuinely care about the child and want what is best for the child. But I feel like there are also cases where it's some sort of battle.
Yes,
because
children are
I feel like
recognized.
some people attach because there's something called parental ego. I feel like some people attach their self-worth as a parent to their role as a parent. So it's like you're fighting for custody because what are you trying to say? I'm not a good parent, or I cannot take care of my child, or something like that. And then the focus shifts from, what is actually best for this child? Can I actually be a good parent to this child? And now I'm trying to prove a point.
So piggybacking on what you just said, most times they are trying to fight for custody based off what they feel as a parent. Another thing is, many a times custody is not really custody they are fighting for. Is I hurt, we were married, and I hurt you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm trying
And
to get back at
You are
you.
exactly. So you are using custody to punish me.
Yes.
And many a times,
Yeah.
it also happens, the man
Yeah.
also does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably she
Totally.
cheated on me. Because she cheated on me,
agree.
I am
But
going to
I'll
take
show
the
you.
child.
I'll show you.
Children are mine.
Totally
You understand?
agree.
And I see that happens a lot in culture, So I don't have the legal jargon to support this. So I'm just going to use culture. Two Igbo people, we live in the same estate, they live in the next building. They used to always fight every single time. And one of the daughters, the second daughter, has one eyes now because the father is a very physically violent person. So in a
my
bid
God.
to discipline the daughter, he used the head of the belt to hit her in the eyes.
Oh boy.
Exactly. It was a crazy thing.
Oh boy.
But when they were fighting for custody, the man still won.
Well,
I don't know.
It's possible.
Let me explain how.
Okay, all right.
So like when we because the lawyer is also living in the estate. So it
Oh,
was a very
God.
crazy. So
I tell you,
gossip
it's
started
very-
going around.
gory.
Turns out that the man now got evidence that the woman cheated on him. When the children are all his, they did DNA, everything. The children are all his, but there was a time where they were separated, but not divorced, and the woman had an affair, an extramarital affair, and the woman used to have a bad lifestyle before he married her. She used to be a call girl. Yeah, I don't want to use the actual word. He used to be a call girl. So apart that played out in court, and the woman lost all 6 children.
And I don't see why that should have
Exactly.
been relevant.
The court didn't look at one thing.
Exactly. So I was like,
sorry.
and they not also played culture because I don't know about, I don't speak for every Igbo person, but I know that in some certain cultural areas in Igbo land, the child is the father's child.
It's always like that.
It's the father's child. No matter what wants to
But the
happen,
court
it's the
doesn't
man
look
that has
at
the
the
child.
court doesn't
I-
look at
I-
culture. Like if they didn't go to a customary court, like he said, not even like he said, but like
How it is.
the court doesn't look at culture to make that decision. The court is largely evidence and fact based. I had a very so this is
But they are
this is
corruptible judges though.
no,
There
not-
has to be a corrupt
so
judge
you know
in
what
this
the
case.
family court. I don't know if you well his way he's speaking. I don't know, but if you had like an experience in the family court, there's a lot of. I don't know whether I would say that the courts are faced with like a very difficult task because there's so much emotion and you have to somebody has to be sane. Most of the time, like you're looking at the situation and yourself as a judge are saying, oh my goodness, but you have to
use a lot.
you have to use law and evidence or facts that are brought like before you to make your decision. You can't the courts cannot descend to the arena and say, look, you know what, these girls it might look like
You might say
I didn't mean that you knew, but the court doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
They just whoever like brings facts and because like in civil law, right? Oh, I don't know why it always happens, but basic points like the scale is not to the scale is not
to prove
it's not to prove
beyond
beyond reasonable doubt. It's not it's to prove it's to
balance probabilities.
is to balance like probability, right? And say, okay, these are the facts that are before me. Say this person brought this whatever. And that's like the importance of getting like a very good lawyer, right?
So that's actually what I wanted to
So
say.
the person
The
gets,
woman in question
has
did not
like
have a lawyer.
So
At all.
Sorry,
Did not have a lawyer the whole time.
I
So
do
So I
not
felt like it
want
was
us-
unfair.
I do not want us to overlook the first issue that was raised.
okay.
The issue of
Infidelity.
not infidelity. The
Demand
issue of
violence.
no. The issue of the parents going into the arena with emotions.
Oh, okay.
Right. You see, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. You see, humans, we are product of our experience.
Yeah.
And there's something we can do about that. We always bring our experience, what has happened to us, what we've seen, what we've heard. We always bring it to play wherever we are.
Yeah.
So the truth is, in custody proceeding, most custody proceedings are actually extension of divorce proceeding.
Yep.
You
Like you
understand?
said, like
You
trying to,
understand?
I get
So,
that.
so they will now bring forward that emotion.
I
So,
hate my husband.
at the end
She
of the
don't have
day,
a child.
At the end of the day,
Anytime
they
it's
forget
not their
the
husband, I hate
fact
this
that
man.
at the end of the day, they
hate
forget the
this
fact that
woman.
the fight is not for them but for the kids.
For the child.
So at the end of the day, the court might actually arrive to what is not in the best interest of the kids.
when they could have all
Like you
sat
said,
down
the fact
to have like a decent
and
conversation.
the papers before the court.
Mm.
So I think this is the core part that people need to hear about. So when you're in court for custody proceeding, it's not just about you. It's about the future of the kids, which is also your own future. I mean, you have seen your past, you have seen your present,
Yeah.
but your future, your kids are also part of the future.
Mm.
If you make any mistake because of your emotions, because of your hatred towards your husband or towards your wife, you end up spoiling your own future and the future of those
Future of
kids.
the child.
You see, the truth is, some people know that. See, I know that custody ought to be granted to this woman.
But just
But
because.
then I go show am
Yeah.
Spite.
At the end of the day, you know what people will say? Ti ajanoku meji banja. Koko Beni, Yamaje, went to elephant
thank you.
are fighting. So
The
went
ground
to-
suffers.
Exactly. That's what happens. But elephant too should be careful because if the grass dies, they will die of
Hunger.
hunger.
Yeah.
So people should learn that. People should should shield the sword of their emotion when they're in court for custody. What is most important is the best interest of the child. Let me tell you one thing. Custody is not usually granted to the parent. Custody could be granted
To a third party. Yep.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in the movie.
You-
I've seen that in the movie.
In real life,
Yeah.
no, don't be moving now.
Two of you are not
Yes.
emotionally
in
stable
real life,
to
in-
handle this child.
in real
I
life-
like that.
in real
I
life,
like
that
that.
makes
Custody could be granted to the grandfather or the grandmother. In fact, custody could be granted to the state.
All right, so we already established that during child custody battles, emotions get into play. And many times it's more of the feelings between the wife or the mother and the father, right? It's a tussle between them more than the child, right? And emotions come into play. Do you think it is okay when people, because of their emotions, go and start, digging out vile things like the example I gave? Let's even go like
More
Davido and
Sophia.
Sophia's case, right? A lot of people online were arguing that it was irrational and unfair for Sophie to bring in the death of Davido's other child in play for this particular custody battle. What do you guys think about that?
So I'll go first because I know he has.
A lot to
Yeah.
say.
He will-
Probably has a Bible.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But I think I would also. I think it's really going to really be long on my own end. But you think let me talk about it from a legal angle.
Yeah.
When it comes to facts, right? You really want to bring all your facts to the table and say that you fear for the safety of your child, right? And it's very important to know that Sophia did not represent herself in court. She was advised by a lawyer. And so the lawyer would have told her, bring all the information that will make it seem like this individual is
Not fit.
is not fit or is not, or like there are certain things that by his lifestyle, he won't be able to adequately be present in the life of the child the way you think he will be present in the child. So I think that may have been like something that she would have used. Personally, so this is like, I'm saying this now as a lawyer, and to be honest, we are representing, it's just like the mother or the father is representing the interest of, is trying to fight for the interest of the child. We
Or
are
you in front of your
fight the
client.
interest of our clients,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what he thinks. Wait, I'm not done. Please hold on, right? So hold on. So the point is this, right? I think what I really think, honestly, and this is like really my opinion, I think that we're just all fixated. We're just all fixated on custody. Like, are you really thinking about what custody is? Like, what exactly is the problem? You don't want to be with this person, and this is your child. Even if like custody is granted, say joint custody or say shared custody or split custody, you will still be present in the child, in the life of your child,
Regardless.
which is like the essence of this entire thing. I don't want to be absent from the life of my child. If I can, please, I want to pay school fees. If I can, please, I want to be able to pay rent. If I can, please, I want to be able to pick her up Christmas on her birthday. I want to be there. That is the essence of this whole thing. But everybody keeps saying, so, and I've had like a conversation about this. Shout out to my colleague in the office. She's going to watch this. Well, it's very uncanny that we had this, you can say IO. IO. Hi, IO. So like, we had a conversation about this, and she was, going on about how it can be people can be very vindictive, weaponizing the child, right? And saying, you can say, if Sophia was fighting joint custody because she didn't want Davido to, Davido maybe to withhold consent when it comes to medicals, consent when it comes to travels, blah, blah, blah. But if the two of us know that, we're not even really fighting each other. Like, I don't have any problem with you. Do your life, I'll do my life. I want to be present in the life of my child. How would it be a problem for the both of us to have joint custody? So I think that's always the point that is missed in all of this, like in everything, like so that you now start bringing out things to make sure that this person does not have
a say at
say.
all.
And
Anything
meanwhile, you
possible.
didn't give birth to that child alone.
Alone.
That's my hot take, and that's.
I like that.
So that's my hot take, like in this whole mix. So I'm going to allow him to say his part, and then
legal.
The thing is, apart from child custody, children in Nigeria also have some other rights. And when custody proceeding is going on, one of the things that court always do is that custody proceedings are heard out of the public.
Yes.
They are mostly heard in chambers.
Exactly.
Or in the open court when people who are not directly involved in the matter.
No press.
No press. Maybe externs will be allowed just to learn from experience. You see, it always pains me when issues like this go to social media.
I agree.
I think that the whole thing did not lead to social media. Nobody would know that somebody said something in court, somebody said this in court. Like you said, you go to court with relevant facts. Even there are times that you bring evidence of bad character if it is relevant to the matter in court. That is where evidence comes in. Because generally, evidence of bad character is not admissible in court. But if it is relevant to the matter in issue, you bring it.
I get
We're
you.
talking about parental care. We're talking about maintenance, and somebody is very, very abusive. If you could go to any length to do anything, and you are saying you're spoiling my name, you understand? However, if somebody goes overboard, I mean, the law does not have just one hand. You can decide to take action against someone. Yeah. And even in a case whereby the parties involved are putting the matter on social media, they are doing things that indirectly or directly affect the dignity of that child. Action could be maintained against them for violating the dignity rights of that child. The Child Rights Act, I think Section 11 or so of the Child Rights Act, and then Section 35, Section 34 of the Constitution guarantees the right to dignity of human person of Nigerians, while the Child Rights Act guarantees the right to dignity of a child. So if parties go to the court and they are saying a lot of things and they are doing things that would affect the interest or the right of that child, action could be maintained against them in courts and damages will be awarded against them. So for me, it is in reality, it is not out of place for parties to go to the court and go to the court with all they have. If you are going to war, you go to war with everything you have. You will not say you were married, so I should not say some things. At the end of the day, judgment would tilt towards the other person because you are not
enough.
Exactly.
So with me, yes, I agree. My angle was going to be like I didn't exactly like specifically with the whole Davido and Sophia's case and many other cases generally. I don't want to like single-handed like pick them out. I believe that we don't need to hear. We just need to hear verdict. We don't even need to hear verdict. It's not our business. And I feel like because they're celebrities, they feel the need to get us into their lives. It was even so weird to see court papers on Twitter. It was on X. It was very weird that Instagram slides. I was seeing court papers. It was too weird for me.
The whole thing really pained me. They forget the fact that it is not about them, it is about the kid.
The child.
Imagine the 9-year-old guy in the class and his classmates are talking about it.
And they will.
And she's
because
reading,
kids now are very violent. They will
and
talk
she
about
herself, and she herself is reading about it. I mean,
I've heard the girl speak. She's intelligent.
Very intelligent.
She's a smart girl, so she can go online and see by herself.
Try to imagine the psychological state of that girl.
And then all that conversation about you can have
that gay. And the fact that these things will be there.
Something like that. It doesn't mean that you will not be present.
Will be there because they are on social media. It's going to be there, perhaps for life.
Perhaps. Please give there for life.
I'm just saying. So 10 years ago, 20 years ago, issues about these things are crazy. These things are crazy,
especially for public figures.
So I mean, fine. Court records are actually public documents. But if the court is hearing the matter out of public, it doesn't necessarily mean that because court is a public institution, then whatever happens in the court should go outside. I mean, people are publishing court records. Affidavits in the public. Oh, this is what this person said about this person. It's crazy. You can say all those things in court, and there is a reason why the court says, oh, if you are not in this matter, out of hearing and out of sight. So only people who are involved should be in this matter because the court expects that people will say very, very hurtful things. You understand?
Because his family is
all these things are expected. But my issue is you taking all these things covered, and you enter toilets. Shit for inside bucket. You not carry and go market.
Washing dirty linen in public.
See my sheet.
I really think that people should understand like the concept of joint custody. Like they really need to know like what it like
entails.
What it entails, really. To be honest, like there are different types of like, and when court grants joint custody, right? There are other I think I don't want to say they accessorize the joint custody like with other things, maybe like visiting or something like, so those terms. So if it was matrimonial causes, for instance, let's say like the child is a product of a legal marriage that wants to be dissolved, right? There will always be something called a
assessment,
something counseling.
Yes, pretrial counseling.
Pretrial counseling, where they discuss other matters, including maintenance. So whatever is not agreed upon in that pretrial counseling, that's where that's some of the things they bring to court and say, okay, we couldn't agree on this, and then everybody brings their evidence for them to decide, for the court to decide, right? So that's like one of the, I don't know if that's available, like, because I've not really had like an experience with.
Okay.
Child rights, like for two people who are not married. It's always like people who are married. So people need to, people just need to understand like the concept of this these categories of joint custody. If they grant joint custody, or if they grant sole custody rather in this case to one parent, right? It doesn't mean that you don't get to visit the child. It doesn't mean that you don't get to be in their life or see them. Pay school fees is even like a responsibility. But let's leave that. Let's even talk about like being there, access to the child. Doesn't mean you don't have access to the child. It's just that the other person just doesn't want you to hold them back when it comes to
consent,
important decisions like approvals, maybe travel and something like that. And that is based on maybe the antecedent they have with you. Do you understand? So from
someone that doesn't really speak legal. So when it's sole custody, it means that, or if we both have, Christopher and I have a kid and I get sole custody of the children, it means that I'm able to make decisions independently
of the other person.
So when it's joint custody, I get to get their own
you need approval.
If it's medicals,
religion, every decision that has to do like
the child. We make it together.
Yes,
let me just add to what she has said. Like she said, joint custody, even sole custody does not mean that for life you're not going to see the kids again. You
will
understand?
Keep seeing.
You see, but the thing is, it's not as if people do not know this. They actually know. But the fear is, hey, after the whole court process,
she can take my child and travel.
You understand? Is it feasible? Would this man allow me, or would this woman allow me to see the kids? Some take the kids and travel, even though the court will say, these kids must not leave the country. Yeah. You understand? So because of that, people always go all out to ensure that they have sole custody. I think the law should be more stern on people violating custody order. The court says, okay, allow this particular man to make visitation to these kids every week, and
will say she's not
you will
around.
not pick the call. You even change the address, and the man does not even know where you live again. You change their school.
Yep.
You change their church.
Yep.
So you disconnected the kids from
their parents.
From their parents. So I think the law should be more stern, because it should be more stern in violating custody order. I believe that insofar as matters relating to child are very, 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 very sensitive, anybody violating custody order, sanctions on them should be more than just violating an everyday court order. Because there are no sanctions. You understand?
People do what they like.
People don't know that they can actually institute a criminal action in court for violating custody order, contempt in court, and the person could be jailed for violating the court order. I think people should also know this. So after the court order and the other party is denying you your right and responsibility, you have the right under the law to go to court to institute an action for criminal contempt, because that's the only way we could go. Because in reality, the moment somebody gets custody like this, you will not see them again. You will not see them again.
All right. So for me, also, yes, I'm more of a fan of joint custody. But now that I've understood what sole custody actually is, initially I used to think that, if a man or a woman wins sole custody, then the other person doesn't have a right to see the child again. So now that I realize, I now get sole custody now, right? Because someone gets sole custody does not mean you will not see your child. You will get to see your child whenever, right? At least with arrangements with the court, you get to see your child. You can get to provide for your child. You can get to take your child on vacation if it's agreed upon.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like a lot of Nigerians think once you get sole custody, the child is no longer the other person's child again. It's now yours. But yes, and I also feel like joint custody is always better from a mundane perspective. I think joint custody is better because I don't believe from two angles. I believe for the child should have two physically present parents, and for the parents too. It is hard to be responsible solely for a child. You need help financially. You need help. You know, it's not every time you be in your best behavior. You understand? You need someone that your child will look up to and be like, oh, I will go to daddy for this thing, or I'll go to mommy for this thing. So from both angles, I believe it's better to just have two.
Yeah, it's
just two is better than one.
See, we should not say that a particular type of custody is the best. Let's go back to the beginning of the conversation where we say that what the court will look at is the best interest of the child, considering the circumstances. Yeah. You know, there are instances whereby one of the parents will be dead. Maybe the father is dead, and the paternal grandfather is the guardian of the child, and the mother is like, when I'm alive, nobody would be the mother and father of my kids. In that instance, depending on other facts, another fact before the court will say, oh, no. Old man. I mean, you've had a time. You understand? This is her time. She's the mother of these young kids. Let her have the sole custody of the kids. That's an instance. Another instance is where the man just abandoned everyone and japa. We don't even know where this man is, and perhaps maybe he's sending his lawyer to fight for custody. The court will be like, "What are you saying? You abandoned them. You left them. And you are not fighting for joint custody. No. We are going to give full sole custody to this woman." So the circumstances of which case dictates what happens. So in a case where the court ought to grant sole custody and the court is granting joint custody, will be like, no, this is unfair. And in the case whereby the court ought to grant joint custody and granting sole custody, will be like, no, this is unfair. So it just depends on circumstance of. I just
think that ceteris paribus. Joint custody.
All things being equal.
All things being equal, right? Joint custody is, I think, right? So this is like, I'm moving the motion to say that all things being equal, joint custody is really like, preferable. I would lean towards joint custody more. But where there's now an exception as to character and stuff, then we can now say, okay, you don't deserve it, right? Based on this. Well, it's just that people are weaponizing weaponizing children just because.
I have to even say something. In argument against, as you just said something, remember, an argument against just joint custody. I believe that joint custody makes decision making slow when the child is involved.
This was the argument that we had.
Yes, I believe that it makes decision making really slow because you have to consult. And let's say people have lives. Maybe the child lives with the mom and the child is not with the dad, but the child has a pending case. Maybe for school, they need to take a school trip, and like, let me email daddy. And you send an email to dad, and for some reason dad did not see it, it went to his spam. You still have to wait till dad finds it. You call him, maybe he has changed his number, you don't know. I see both sides have their.
I think it's the practicability of it that makes it difficult. It makes it very daunting because then but I always when I was having that argument I would just say conversation with my colleague. I remember that she had brought this up, and I said there are certain situations, in my opinion, that requires that somebody goes ahead and then it's like, oh, like if this person is sick in the hospital, I cannot be waiting for you to tell you, sign this thing. To get my child treated, when you come out, you ever witness people used to cry all the time. When I'm dying, don't give me blood. Some doctors will go ahead and give them blood. And they'll sue them. When they get to court, the court will say the doctor was doing his medical duty. That's the save your life. So these things are not, and I don't think they are really cast in stone. Just that when we want to be very technical, we now say joint custody means that.
All right, so we're just going to wrap up with what you're saying.
Yes, we should also know that no custody order is final.
Yeah.
Yes. Parties can go to court again and say, okay, fine, these circumstances that you considered then are not in place again. So let's do this. Yeah. So it is not so custody order is not always final. The court will say you can always come back to this court. We can vary the terms. So if somebody is playing games, you could go to court and say, my lord, this person is not aligning with
The order of the court.
with what the courts ruled on. So parties could easily go to court again and vary the terms of the court order.
All over again.
So, well, in finality, I'll just say 3 or 4 things.
Finality.
So, number one, you see, custody proceedings are generally the result of a broken union. All right. And one thing is, we as humans, because we are rational, we can do without conflict. You understand? So our maturity is tested in the way we handle conflict. You understand?
Yeah.
So the thing is, Nigerians are really, really frustrated. Things are hard.
Damn.
And people bring these things into their relationships. And
Mr. Bell.
and issues like this, cross into walls of marriage and ends up in separating bonds. It now boils down
To the child.
to the child or the children. So
Collateral damage.
I think government also has a role to play in this. I mean, if things are going well, maybe people will be less frustrated and marriages would I said maybe, and marriages
I
would
agree.
break less. That was number one. Number two is that Nigeria is generally a religious country. Well,
Yeah.
we might not be faithful, but then
On
we
paper.
are
Preach.
we are very, 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 very religious. I'm not going into details of that. The religious leaders, they have a lot of roles to play. You understand? There are some people that whatever their pastor or their alpha says is what they will do. You understand? So alphas and pastors, they should know. They should
Preach the right sermons.
Exactly. They should preach the right sermons. Maybe some custody matters will not even need to go to the courts. Just call them, sit down, say, okay, this is what the Bible says, this is what the Quran says. Do it like this, and then everything goes.
Or what Amadio has said.
You understand?
They're telling them
So
they are not
so
listening.
the religious leaders, they have a lot of role to play. Now, the third one is that I'm a lawyer, and it pains me at times that simple matters takes years. You understand? It is possible that a custody matter would not be settled until the children reach the age of majority. If I have the money and I was like, I'm not going to give this woman the custody, but maybe the father had the custody of the children while the matter was going on. It could frustrate the whole proceeding to the extent that they will continue to appeal and appeal until
Woman surrenders.
No.
Until the child is
these children are exactly of the age of maturity, of majority. So, and if you want to get, you see, if your matter is at the court of appeal now, and you want to get a date at Supreme Court, you might not get. You will not get a next year date. You will not get 2 years date.
I know, I heard that.
You understand? So I can decide to frustrate the matter until the matter reaches Supreme Court. There are a lot of decisions of the Supreme Court on custody matter. How? Why? Why should that be? So I think the law should also come into place and say, okay, fine. Appeals from custody matters should not go
Past the court of appeal.
beyond High Court or beyond Court of Appeal. Do you know that you cannot appeal a decision of decree absolute? I mean, if a court dissolves a marriage permanently, you cannot appeal it. That's where it dies.
But custody, you can keep appealing.
Decision of the National Industrial Court it can't scale past the High Court. You understand? And there are some matters like that you cannot appeal beyond Court of Appeal. I think we should borrow something like this
Custody.
into child custody. And then lastly is that, you see, government needs to do a lot on the welfare of children, of young persons in Nigeria. I mean, schooling, healthcare,
Social services.
social services. You see, we as adult Nigerians, if you check the Constitution, I think Chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental the directive principles of state policies, we have what we call non-justiciable rights. They are right that you have, but you cannot enforce. You cannot take action against the government for violating the right. So under that Chapter 2 of the Constitution, you have social rights, economic rights, political rights. Under that, you have rights, that guarantees your
It's giving
your
first
health
class
care.
in law at this
Your health care. Wait. So rights that guarantees your
Give it school.
your health care. You understand? Your health care.
Yeah.
But do you know that children in Nigeria, they have that right as their fundamental human right under the Child's Rights Act, which means that they can take action against the government.
custody, you can keep appealing.
Decision of the National Industrial Court it can't scale past the High Court. You understand? And there are some matters like that you cannot appeal beyond Court of Appeal. I think we should, borrow
Apply
something like
that
this
to child
exactly
custody.
into child custody. And then the lastly is that you see, government needs to do a lot on the welfare of children, of young persons in Nigeria. I mean, schooling, healthcare,
Social services.
social services. You see, we as adult Nigerians, if you check the Constitution, I think Chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental the directive principles of state policies, we have what we call non-justiciable rights. They are right that you have, but you cannot enforce. You cannot take action against the government for violating the right. So under that Chapter 2 of the Constitution, you have social rights, economic right, political right. Under that, you have rights, that guarantees your
It's giving
your
first
health
class
care.
in law at this
Your
point.
health care. Wait. So rights that guarantees your
It's giving school.
your health care. You understand? Your health care.
Yeah.
But do you know that children in Nigeria, they have that right as their fundamental human right under the Child's Right Act, which means that they can take action against the government for government where government deprives them
of certain rights.
of certain right. I mean, right to name, right to personal liberty, right to dignity, right to parental care, right to maintenance. You understand? So I think government should do more in the welfare of young persons in Nigeria. I mean, if I know that the government will pay the school, the transport fare, health is free, what fight am I fighting again?
That's not good. That's not. I don't want to go into it. About to go.
I just said that I just said that just in
Just
on
easy.
the.
All right.
I understand.
All
I
right.
understand.
All
I
right.
understand. I understand.
So what I'm gonna say is that don't have child with somebody that you know that you fight with, because from what I'm hearing now is too much stress, it's too much drama. You keep appealing. So just get a child with somebody, marry somebody, or have children with people that you actually love. Please, thank you.
So unfortunately, this court has to be adjourned. I really wish we had more time because I didn't really know how deep this whole custody thing can be, because I've seen cases of, people doing it outside of court, going with culture, emotions, and all of that. But now we have seen that it's actually a lot more than that. And like I said, I wish we had more time. I would really, really encourage us to watch this episode. So I will speak to our producers about having a part 2, because I feel like we should. Don't forget to watch us on all streaming platforms. We're available on YouTube, Spotify. Please watch this episode. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.